fucking balls, lick 'em. Listen, haters are going to hate, and the fact that Tony Bellew and Carl Froch didn't make any money out of the game.
Tyson Fury and Carl Froch are at it again, as Tyson Fury has fired the Cobra for coming at him and advising him to retire after his loss against Usyk. Tyson Fury and Carl Froch have never had the best relationships, hence it's quite normal for them to make headlines in such a time as this.
No, he won't be furious. He'll be okay.
You will be furious, you will be angry.
Furious. No, I won't be angry, I'll be focused.
They told me that when you are in a...
Carl Froch came at him first, and now it's Tyson Fury's turn to attack. Coming off the second loss of his career, Tyson Fury responded to Carl Froch, warning him to mind his business and stay off his lane if he isn't ready to do his talking in.
It's obviously hurtful to him. And I'm making the biggest bags that's ever existed. I've just signed the biggest deal in boxing history, which I can't divulge to you right now.
But however, given the downward spiral that the Moram native was on a few months ago after his loss in May, it is a miracle that he is even challenging for the world title. Tyson Fury has been open about his post-title win depression after defeating Vladimir Klitschko in 2015. His re-emergence back then was a testament to his resilience, which tells you can never count the 36-year-old out of any fight.
Strong as me. Not everybody's mentally as strong as me. Like, a lot of negative stuff can bring other people down. But it doesn't do shit to me because it's just like water off a duck's back. It doesn't do anything. I'm waterproof. But somebody's maybe not...
With another mountain to climb in front of him, DAZN Sports reposted a clip from a short documentary that was released just before the first Usyk-Fury fight. The clip featured various boxing pros talking about Tyson Fury's downward spiral in 2015, and how he resurrected himself back from the spiral to shock everyone. Dean recently reshared a clip from their Road to Undisputed documentary, which was made in the lead-up to the clash for the undisputed heavyweight title between the two.
Just say, clickety-clank, you know, let Tony Bellew and Carl Froch do a little mock-up fight somewhere, see if they can get anyone interested in it. Who cares what they think? They're just average little boxers.
Let Tony Bell and KFR do a little MCK up fight somewhere, so they didn't get anyone interested in. Who cares what they think? They're just average little boxers. In the clip, while talking about Fury's past battles with depression, boxing analyst Ade Ito explained the biggest problem for Tyson Fury is that when he came back to England he didn't get the love that he probably thought he was going to get, referring to his victory against Klitschko health as he became the world champion and achieved what he had always dreamt of. He felt purposeless as mentally
Strong as me would be upset and hurt by other people's comments. But considering it means nothing to me at all, because when I'm out and about, you know, no one ever comes up to me and says, you know what, Tyson, I think you're and I think all the achievements...
The hopelessness forced Tyson Fury to turn towards substance abuse as a coping mechanism. Former World Boxing Organization heavyweight champion Joseph Parker stated that he didn't believe that the Moram native would ever be back. He recounted after going through what he went through, the peds and out scared for the former unified heavyweight champion, his brother Roman Fury also looked back at the time, explaining how scared he was for his brother. It was very frightening to see how big he got weight-wise and the other things he was doing, claimed the younger sibling. It was also the time when Fury was losing all his credibility in the boxing world. Matchroom head honcho Eddie Hearn recalled that he wanted to sign Tyson Fury. However, after seeing his condition, he was adamant that the 69 giant would never reach the same heights
you've ever done. I know good, because they'd never have the guts to do that. But behind the computer screen, anybody can be anybody, and everybody's tough.
I met Tyson Fury in Monaco to sign him about 5 years ago, and he was 25-26 stone. He was sweating, and I thought to myself, you will never get back to elite level in the heavyweight division, recalled Hearn, saying to himself, however, there was one person who took the gamble on a beaten Tyson Fury and changed his life. Frank Warren. Warren not only signed the Moram native under his Queensberry Promotions banner, but also gave him a platform to make his grand comeback. With a distraught look on his face, Warren reminisced about the time when he signed Tyson Fury. He recounted, I could see it in his eyes that he wanted it, and I thought if I can get him the opportunities one believe he could win the world title. I genuinely believed that. While explaining his experience with the January 1st 34 boxer Tyson Fury signed with Queensberry Promotions back in 2018, and since then he has not looked back. Warren orchestrated Fury's comeback fight more than two themselves. Guess what? You got to work hard, dedicate your life. Following that, Warren was instrumental in organizing the historic trilogy against Deontay Wilder, a saga that propelled Fury to the top of the heavyweight division once again. Furthermore, the English promoter has also supported his boxer outside the ring. He has been a steadfast supporter always beside him, even during and rebuild his career once again. As Tyson Fury steps into the ring, it will not only be against Oleksandr Usyk, but he will also face all the demons that he has kept at bay for a very long time. So no matter if he wins or loses, it will be another inspirational chapter in the Gypsy King's story, although he would surely like to win back his titles. Talking about the fight, Tyson Fury's promoter Frank Warren of Queensberry Promotions said, I do think it took a toll on Usyk in that particular fight. Warren told Sky Sports,
that's what it is. I think people need to grow up and stop with all hating on other people. And if they want to do something themselves, guess what? You got to work hard, dedicate your life to.
I went to both the fighters' dressing rooms afterwards. I was in Tyson's dressing room, and obviously he was very disappointed. He felt he'd done enough to win the fight. It was a close fight, there was a lot of life in him, and I went into the dressing room to congratulate Oleksandr, and he knew he'd been in a tough fight. That's the toughest fight he's ever had. At the time they were worried he'd broken his jaw. His manager told me an implanted tooth was impacted into his gum. That was a grueling fight. For both of them fought at a high pace, lots of punches being thrown. It was a tough fight. It was a close, brilliant fight. Warren thinks Usyk will have to box the same way he did before, but better to win. But recognizing his fury can vary his approach with a second fight, like a feel in Saudi Arabia. Britain has never made me feel well. They couldn't get behind the champion, but they're the ones who going to miss out them. Do you think your son only returns to boxing? Fury knows what he's got to do. He knows better than me. Any of himself, and single-handedly set the stage for his son's first career defeat. Former world super middleweight world champion Froch was brutal in his comments about the loss of his countryman Tyson Fury and the eventual firing of John Fury from his son's corner. He went as far as slamming his father and putting all the blame on him, comparing Tyson Fury's corner to his own corner during his boxing career.
To feel in Saudi Arabia. Britain has never made me feel well. They couldn't get behind the champion, but they're the ones who are going to miss out them. Nobody else.
Do you think your son only returns to boxing Saudi?
And put a minimum of 20 years in to achieve anything. You don't put a minimum of 20 years into something, can't achieve nothing.
Former super middleweight world champion Froch felt the abundance of instructions did Tyson Fury no favors. Speaking on the most recent episode of Talk Sports The Verdict podcast with George Groves, the former unified super middleweight champion said Robert McCracken was the main voice in my corner. The 46-year-old told Talk Sport Froch was particularly vocal about removing Fury. Senior Tony Sims would give me a bit of instruction as I step up off the stall to go out for the round and just say, keep that left hand up or get off to your right. Just a last little instruction before you go. One, cuz I got Robin McCracken 95% of the time, and then I have Tony. But when you've got three people including Big John Fury the fighting man, he said with a bit of humor, when you've got him in the corner shouting and screaming at you whilst you've got two other people giving you advice, that means you're listening to absolutely nobody. He continued, I thought that was terrible and really unprofessional in his corner. He shouldn't be in there anymore.
What we saw in Fury's corner, there are a bunch of different voices in his ear. When you fought, did you just prefer one voice in your ear? Because there were multiple voices on the night in Riyadh.
Commented on Tyson Fury quite harshly, highlighting that Fury survived a torrid 9th round in which he was given a standing 8 count after Usyk rained in a volley of blows which had him staggering into the ropes. The 35-year-old is expected to exercise his contractual right to a rematch, which is penciled in to take place in October.
A guy called Mark Seltzer, but he didn't really give me much. He just gave me a little look and a nod and a wink. But Rob McCracken.
However, the Cobra has questioned Fury's hunger and believes money is now his sole motivation, and this was part of why Fury had to react. Froch had commented on Fury firing his father. He had questioned the professionalism of his corner, and then he was questioning his hunger and motivation. This was one of the main reasons why Tyson Fury responded, claiming his career was a more gracious one than that of Froch, even if he retired at the moment. FR continued by questioning Tyson Fury's motivation, including Big John Fury the fighting man. When you got him in the corner shouting and screaming at you whilst you got two other people giving you advice, that means you're listening to absolutely nobody. I thought that was I think now Tyson Fury realized the legacy is probably not intact like he'd like it to be. FRCH added, so now I think he's just concentrating on the money. I overheard a sound bite when he was in the ring and he looked over at Turkey Alec, who's the entertainment guy out in Saudi. And he looked at him, he goes, let's get the rematch on Show Me the Money, as if that's the only thing he's interested in now, just making some more money before he retires. He's been a fantastic fighter, he's had an unbelievable career, but he's not what he thinks or what he's telling everybody or what Big John Furr is telling everybody, how he's unbeaten, no man born from his. But I don't know how that will set SLE with him when he looks in the mirror and his head hits the pillow. How does that settle with him? The heavyweight titans are contractually obliged to run back their fight providing Fury activates the two-way rematch clause written into their contracts, which he has indicated he will, and it's something the champions team said would happen. We are men of our words. His promoter Alex Kuck told Boxing King Media, it's not about paperwork. If we shake hands and promise something, we do it. I see no reason for the rematch not to take place.
Quite sort of nonchalant with his body language and disrespectful, and people don't like it. You know, if you're at the top and you're representing Big John Fury, the fighting man, when you've got him in the corner shouting and screaming at you, whilst you've got two other people giving you advice, that means you're listening to absolutely nobody. I thought